What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another video. In today's video, we are going to be discussing some Detroit Lions news that we got recently. So, let's get it started.
I got to shout out DoseOfDion, man, because it was actually the first time I went live on YouTube. And, guys don't know, DoseOfDion, he put out a lot of good content for the Detroit Lions.
Welcome, everybody, to another video. Glad you guys are here. You guys see my shirt? Taco about awesome. Hey, this is the perfect day to wear this. Why? Because tomorrow is football. Talk about awesome. Okay, that was awful. I'm sorry. As you guys can see from the board, only one day until the Detroit Lions kick off against the Chicago Bears. I am super excited. Now, we got some news with the Lions roster recently, and honestly, I probably wouldn't do this video in most situations, but the names that the Lions brought up from the practice squad to the active roster surprised me, so I do want to do a little video on it, okay? So, as we know, the practice squad this year is much different. You can have 16 players on a practice squad. You can protect 4 players from other teams. If you try to sign someone from someone else's practice squad, you have to sign them to your active roster. And you can bring 2 players up per week to the active roster. Well, the 2 players that the Lions brought up this week are not players that I was necessarily expecting. And I think it makes kind of news out of that on its own. Okay, so we're going to talk about it. The first player that the Detroit Lions brought up was Jonathan Williams. Jonathan Williams, the running back that we signed this offseason. Okay, Jonathan Williams, former Indianapolis Colts. He's not a bad running back. He's a pretty balanced running back, and I like what he was doing. The Detroit Lions seem to like him. They were able to get him back onto the practice squad, so that's awesome. But Jonathan Williams was brought up. Now, I'm looking at this, and I'm thinking to myself, why did we do this? That's my first initial reaction. Why would we bring a running back up? Because from my knowledge, we have 4 healthy running backs heading into week 1. We have Kerryon Johnson, who we really haven't heard anything about injuries. I mean, he started training camp off with the Braves, but he's been fine. I haven't heard anything about Kerryon Johnson. We brought in Adrian Peterson. You have Ty Johnson, who again, another guy that's been super healthy. Bo Scarborough is on the IR, but you also have DeAndre Swift, who recently has been healthy. So I'm thinking, why in the world are we bringing up a 5th running back, right? How much are we looking to run the football here? So I think there's a couple of reasons that they could be doing this, all right? That's Peterson, Kerryon, Ty, or Swift, something maybe very recently that just came up, and that's something they're concerned with. But I don't think that's it. I think maybe it's one of these 2 things. 1, Adrian Peterson. He's very new to this team. And even though he was with Darrell Bevell before, he still may not have it all down yet. So while he will be active, he may not get that many touches because it is only the first week of the season. So maybe he's still trying to learn everything, all the ins and outs of the Lions offense, and he's not ready to take on a bulk of carries in week 1. I mean, he probably won't do that throughout the season, but maybe they're just expecting to get much less carries for week 1, so they bring up Jonathan Williams. Or the other one is this. Is DeAndre Swift getting a limited start to the season? Because he has dealt with injuries. He's been good in practice recently, but he has dealt with injuries throughout training camp. So maybe the Lions are taking it slower with DeAndre Swift. I think it's one of those 3 things. One of those 3 things are going on. Because if everybody's healthy, I'm surprised they have 5 running backs out there. Do you really need 5 for 1 week? Because the other player they brought up was Kenny Wiggins. Now, this one I do understand. I understand why they brought up Kenny Wiggins here. I felt like he was probably the best offensive lineman not to make the team that was with us. And Kenny Wiggins, his ability to play literally every offensive line position. If you don't know this, Kenny Wiggins can play both tackle positions and both guard positions. Heck, you could put him at center. Wiggins can play every single position on the offensive line. And we got the news earlier this week that Big V was listed as out. So with Big V not in there, your starting right tackle is not going to be playing. It looks like Terrell Crosby is going to step into that role. But it is nice to have someone for depth in case another injury appears. And Kenny Wiggins can play anywhere across the offensive line. So when in doubt, you know you can put Kenny Wiggins in there. He won't be the best, but you can put him in there and he can hold his own. So I think that's why they brought up the offensive lineman. I get that. The running back is a little confusing because I thought we'd bring up Isaac Nauta, knowing that we only have 2 healthy tight ends heading into week 1. Hunter Bryant has already been listed out for Sunday's game, which means we only have 2 tight ends that are healthy. We have TJ Hockenson and we have Jesse James. So I thought we'd have 3 tight ends going in this game. I think tight ends are going to be huge in this game for the Detroit Lions. Just looking at history against the Bears and where I think we can attack weaknesses for the Chicago Bears, I think tight ends are going to be huge. So I thought the Lions would activate Isaac Nauta here, but they didn't. They are only going to rock with 2 tight ends in this game. So does that mean they're just going to rely on TJ Hockenson and Jesse James? I mean, 2's fine. 2 is fine. You can have 2, especially if you're not going to run a lot of 2 tight end sets because, you don't really have to worry about anything. If an injury does happen, you're fine. You didn't need both tight ends. Hopefully that doesn't happen, but you could go into a game with 2 healthy tight ends. We have 2 very good tight ends here. Jesse James has to prove it, but TJ Hockenson as well has to prove it, but we know he has a lot of talent, and he could be very good in week 1. So the Lions, those are the 2 players they decided to bring up. Just a little bit of my thoughts on that, just a little interesting kind of takeaways from that. I think there's some stuff that we can look at here with bringing a running back up, but I do get the offensive line. It makes sense with Big V out. So those are the 2 players that the Lions are bringing up for tomorrow's matchup. So that is the Lions roster heading into week 1, man. I am so excited. I don't even know what to say here. What's the question of the day? what is your favorite movie character? Boom. It could be a cartoon, it could be a real person, so I guess an actor or actress, or movie character like SpongeBob, the SpongeBob movie. I don't know. I really forced that. Let me know your thoughts, guys, below. Thank you for watching, and I'm out. Look at all these cool people. Look at all these cool Hall of Fame, All-Pro, and patrons. You guys are so awesome. Look how interesting. That's an interesting name. I've never seen one like that. I'm not saying that one out loud. We got some cool stuff here, man. I appreciate all of you guys. You guys are awesome. You guys want to be part of this? Click the join button. I appreciate you guys. Look, man, you guys are cool, man. I see you. Oh, I see you're not sneak. I see you down there, my boy.